H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.
As the argument, if it is a different data type, is it still considered as overriding?
Now, if you add a different data type, first of all, let's say I'm going to say int. Let's say I'm going to say 10. Let's say example. Right. First of all, you will get a compile time issue.
No, if you have two different methods, one is data type int, the other one is string.
Okay.
Are they considered overloading?
Yes, it does. Okay.
Thanks.
So in this way, now if you can see here, if I'm going to pass 10 here, this particular method is going to get invoked. Let's say systrace plus let's say I'm integer. I'm going to say I am integer. Okay. And here I'm going to say I'm string basically. Let's say let me even just comment this out. I'm going to say here sys out. So here the main objective is make sure the signature is different. Yeah.
I have a question. Why this method, the tiger dot print my behavior was not invoked before? Why it was not invoked?
Okay, because I was actually, you're talking about this tiger dot print my behavior.
Right.
Okay, let's see this. Okay, now right click, run as Java application. Okay, now if you see this, you're basically able to see that right now, right? I think we commented that out, right, at that point of time.
Yeah, but how it selects that out of these two, only one of them will get I mean to say that the first one, the Pomerian dot print my behavior, like with 10, that got we got the output, but not with the other one. Was it only because we commented?
Yeah, it was only because we commented that out.
Or otherwise, there is no preference, right?
Preference, see, I mean, if you comment this out and if you just invoke this one, so obviously, which one is going to invoke right now? Obviously, this is going to get invoked depending on what kind of arguments you pass. Okay, now dynamically, what's going to happen is, depending on what argument you're going to pass, dynamically, that particular method is going to invoke. Okay, now if I say here, let's say I'm saying here animal.print my behavior, I'm a string here, let's say. And here in this case, when I'm saying, I'll just say copy this and paste it here, and I'm going to say some string. Okay, let's say string. So even if you just pass it as a double quotes also, that is meant that you are passing some string here. You don't have to type in anything. By default, it is a string here. Okay. Now I know that there is already a method print my behavior with an argument who is taking string. Even there is one more method which is taking a integer as an argument here, right? So in this case, for me, obviously both the methods are going to supposed to get printed. One is this and the other one is this. So it's all runtime. Okay. So right click, run as Java application. If you can see, my integer is getting printed as well as my string is getting printed here. Okay. I think in the previous example, and the moment I was running, I just commented this out. For that reason, that was not getting printed. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So there's a question: can we have two methods with same name, same data type, and same number of parameter but different? Yeah, let's say this. Okay, we'll see. We'll touch up all the combinations here. Okay. Now, when we talk about the return type, then we'll talk about these things. Okay. Now, the next thing is the question which Mr. Kiran has asked. We are going to touch base that right now. Okay. Now, here in this case, we just spoke about methods which are doing some functionalities, right? Now, I want some kind of method which does some functionality and return me some values. All right. Now, let's do that right now. Okay. So for that reason, what I have to do is I have to take one more example. Let me say new class calculation. So in this calculation, whenever I talk about a calculation or talk about a calculation method, I basically need to give two values to calculate, right? Or three values to calculate. So let us take two values as of now. So I want to say int a and int b. Okay. Now I'll be having a constructor calculation, which is going to take the moment you create an instance of a calculation, you are supposed to give two values, because there is no point in creating an instance of a calculation when you don't have any value to calculate, right? So I need to say here a comma int b, right? So this is the way I can basically give a and b, and I can just say this dot a equals to a and this dot b equals to b, right? Now let's do some calculation here. So what do I do here? I say calculation, let's say add, okay, equals to new calculation, and a, let's say this is 10, this is your 20. Okay. Now what next? I need to have some behavior right now. I want to say public void add, let's say, okay, just add, right? And what I want to do is, see, I could have even done it in this way also. I could have created a method and passed the same arguments here, okay, int a comma int b, okay, and I would have done some calculation here. But my main objective is, the moment you create an instance of a class, so let's say calculation, you know that you are going to do some calculation. So it's your responsibility. You have to understand that the moment I create an instance, okay, or the moment I create an object, I need some value in it. For example, in the previous examples what we saw, the moment you create a human being, you give a human being a name, right, a length, and the occupation also. The same thing, I could have done it in multiple ways, but this is a preferred way of doing, because I'm saying whenever I talk about a calculation, I want to give two values to it. Okay. Now here in this case, let us comment this out for now. I want to do some calculation here, so I know that I can say add.add, right? So here I can say here sys out, and I can basically say a plus b, right? Now let's see this, what's going to happen when I invoke this. Now this is your 10 and this is your 20, right click, run as Java application. Obviously I'm going to get a value of 30, because the moment I create an instance of this class and invoke the behavior of this particular class, okay, that is your add method, it is going to come here and it is going to say system.out.println. Okay. Pretty plain and simple here in this case. Now let's say I want to do some functionality on this. I want to call add, depending on the add, let's say this is your 30. I want to say let's say int final value equals to let's say the value which already we have it here plus 10, okay, something like plus 10, right? Now I do not have any access to the calculated value, that is 30, okay, in my piece of code here, right? So what I can do basically is I can say calculation, let's say add dot a plus add dot b, right? So this is how I can say, but already you have done some addition, and let's say this addition has taken, let's say 10 lines of code. This is just a line of code which I have added here. This could have, let's say you are doing some complex addition and it has already taken 10 lines of code. You cannot write the same 10 line of code somewhere here. I mean, this doesn't even look good at all. Okay. So at that point of time, what you can do is you can basically, whenever you invoke a method, right, this is a method, or we say it is an API, application programming interface, in different ways, in different terms also we use it. Okay. Now, whenever I invoke this method here, I want that this method should return me something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say return something. Okay. So instead of void, I'm going to say int. All right. So when you say integer as a return type, I want to return something to this. I'm going to say return a plus b. All right. Now I don't have to do this functionality here right now. What I can do, I can simply say okay, I'm done right now. Right. So what I'm doing here, I could have even very well say something like int calculated value equals to, okay. So what happens basically when I say add dot add, okay, let me make this as add me. Yeah. So when I say add dot add me, basically what happens, it is going to do some calculation and it is going to return, okay, and this is the place where we call that particular method. And that return type will be stored in a variable here, that is a local variable, that is a calculated value. And the same calculated value, I can use it for my final calculation. Okay. Now this same final calculation, I'm going to print it right here, sys out. Okay. So I'm going to say final calculation value. Okay. Now let's see this. Let me debug this and show you that. So in order to debug it, you know that you have to click on this, double click on this, or either way you have to say right click and toggle breakpoint. So I'm going to say right click debug as Java application. So we are into the debug mode right now, and if you see, till now we haven't created an object, and the moment you say F6, right? And let me even show you the variables also in the debug mode. Variables. All right. Now these are the variables which basically gets created in the heap itself. Okay. Now I have already created an object. Okay, and add is the reference. I kept on saying here in the previous session also, when you create an object, it is well and good, but you need a reference so that somebody can get the handle of that particular object, right? So that is what we are doing it here. When you say add is basically a reference to the object. It is not an object, okay? So when you say new of some object, that is what your object is. Now here you have a reference. From that reference, you're basically going to say add dot add me, okay? So if I click on this and put a breakpoint here, now let's see if I say F6 or let's say run resume, it basically goes to the next breakpoint. I know that from here it is going to invoke this, and your add me got invoked here, and what is the return type, right? So if you see, I can just select this for now and right click and just say inspect. Okay, I can see the return type here itself, that is your a plus b equals to 30. Okay, now let's say F6, it again came back to the same method, right? Same call here, and now the value of your calculated value is 30, right? And then you're doing some calculation here, and then you're printing it out. All right. So this is all about your return type of a particular method. Okay. Now the question here was okay. So there was a question here. What we have the same signature, everything is same, but we have a different return type here. Duplicate method add me. So let us do one thing here. Instead of having this in picture, let me comment. let me have like something like subtraction. Okay, so I'm not going to use this, I'm not going to use this, and I'm going to say public void subtract me, and I'm going to say, let's say integer okay, some message, okay, string message. And when you try to create an instance of the class in order to subtract it, I want to say something like this, and I'm going to basically say subtract, sub, and let me just say this is 10 and this is your 5. Okay, and then the moment I say subtract me, I just want to say, let's say sys out, and make sure if a particular method has a void return type, okay, you cannot basically have a return of anything here. Okay, just remember this. But we can simply have return, which we are going to talk about it, but you cannot return anything right here. Okay, all right, so we'll discuss about this in short right now. So what am I doing here? I have created a subtract me method, and here basically I want to say sys out, and I'm going to say a minus b. Okay, now the question was, can we have two methods with the same name and the same data type and same number of parameters but different return types? Let's see that right now. So the same thing here, but I'm going to have a different return type here. Okay, I'm going to say int, right? So what it says basically, duplicate method name, right? Type string in type calculation. So your return type matters here. So your signature, in your signature, your parameter comes into picture as well. Okay, so you cannot simply have the same signature, right? I mean, even though your return type is different, you need to have your parameters of different types here. Okay, so we cannot have two methods with the same name and different return type. We cannot have two methods with the same name and different return types. Two methods, yeah, we can have two different methods with two different return types. We cannot have two methods with the same name and different return type. Yeah, I mean, let's say here in this case, I want to say string place, right? Now, here also, if you can see here, the method must return something here. Okay, now, okay, let me do it in this way now. Return 10. Okay, now here I'm saying that I want to return some value. That means I want to return some value to this particular method. Okay, still it says it is a duplicate method of type calculation. Okay, now the other question was, we cannot have two methods with the same name and different return types. You can see it here, right? Now if you see here something like different return types, let me comment this out and keep this method here, and let me have one more method with a string return type. Okay, and I want to return something as string, right? So if you can see, still you get a compilation issue here. Okay, so make sure whenever you have your methods, your entire signature should be changed. Okay, if you say string name here, I'm good right now. So that means I'm having two different parameters here, right? And I'm having a return type also here. Okay, is it pretty much clear, folks? Okay, all right. Okay, all right, so this is what we spoke today, is about a method, the return type of a method. Okay, Yes, in signature, we basically, when you talk about signature, we talk about return type, we talk about the arguments of the what are arguments you pass. Okay, so what is return type, what is a specifier, all those things. Okay, so you cannot have two signature in the same class or the same type. All right, so now okay. Now, till now we spoke about a constructor overloading, right? Now let's talk about what is a overriding. Okay. Let me go back to the existing example right now. Let me talk about a human. Okay. Now let me add a new behavior to the human. Let's say I want to say public void run. Okay. Now I know that all the human beings basically they can run. So what I did is I have added a common functionality, that is your run method. Okay. So I basically say sys out, and I say here as I am running. Okay. So usually every human being they run. All right. Now let me go back to the subclasses now. Let me go back to the debug Java mode now, and this is my human, this is my men here, right? So I know that when I say on men dot run, when I run this application, I basically will, let me even comment this out. I can see, right click, run as Java application. I can basically see that, okay, I am running method is getting invoked. Why? Because I am basically inheriting the properties of your human class. Okay, because already human has got a method. So what I'm doing is, as your men has extended human, so obviously all the properties along with your state and behavior. What do you mean by state? In human you have got some state and as well as the behavior also. Okay, so you inherit them by default. Okay, now what next we are going to see here is, now every time when I create a men, right, some men they run fast, some men they run slow, right? So here in this case, let's say okay, when I talk about a men in specific, okay, and even if you talk about a woman, right, I can say basically if I want to invoke a method on woman, right, I will say woman dot run. So I'm good with it because I'm saying women dot run, so always women run. But when it comes to men, I'll say that men they run fast. Okay, so I want to print something like run as Java application. I want to print something like I am running fast. Okay, so what I can do basically, I cannot do anything as of now. If you can see here, I cannot do any changes here right here, because if I do any changes here, if I'm running fast, right, the moment I do any changes here, if I run the application for the women, right click run as Java application, it is going to say I'm running fast, right? So what should I do basically? Okay, so let's just stay tuned here right now. What we are going to do in the human, we are just going to remove this. So this is the default functionality of a human, that means I'm running here. Now what am I going to do is, I am basically going to override. Okay, so let's see this. What am I going to do? So what I did basically here is, I have overridden the run method. So let me even remove this for now. Okay, so what I did, I just copied okay, in the human class I just copied this. Let me even copy this and I'll just paste it here. Okay, the same signature, the signature is same here, right? Now when the signature is same, everything is same, you are basically saying you are overriding the particular method of your superclass. Okay, Now let me run this right now, and by saying I am running fast. Now right click, run as Java application. So what's happening? Even though I'm invoking the method .run, it is actually running this particular class run method. It is not invoking your superclass run method here. Okay, you see that here? If I comment this out and run this right now, run as Java application. At this point of time, when I'm commenting this out, it is basically seeing, okay, there is already a behavior in my superclass. It goes there and invokes this method. But the moment I override, right? So that's what I say. I have overridden the existing functionality of the superclass here. So for that reason, the moment I run this particular application right now, this main class run method is going to get invoked. Okay. Any questions on this, folks?
Hey Jairam, if you just use super in here in the main method, super.run or super something, so with that
Yeah, see,
overridden constructor over there.
no, but see, even though you use super, okay, I can even use super here, no doubt. That I would have even told you right now. In order to invoke a superclass method, you can even do that. But is there a point in doing it? Because our main objective is to add some extra functionality to the main method, main class, right? So if I even run this, run as Java application, I'm still saying I'm running, correct?
Okay.
So my main objective is to add some extra features or extra functionality to my existing class. Okay.
Okay.
Still for the main, I want to say run. I would have very well created a new method here, right? I can very well say run main, and I would have used this right over here, right? But here we are explicitly talking about a common functionality, which I just want to say run, right? So for that reason, I want to, instead of creating a new method, I basically am overriding the existing method. Okay. Now even in Eclipse, if you see, when you override a method, you basically see a triangle over here. Okay. Now,
Yeah, I have a question. Suppose in this case, like we are overriding the method, we want a different output in the main class. So what is the need for using the same method name? We could have like used any other name, and what is the purpose of using the same name?
yeah, we'll talk about it when we talk about the abstraction. Okay. So you'll get a better understanding when we talk about the abstraction, when we talk about dynamic polymorphism and those things. All right.
Thank you.
Just stay tuned here. All right. So if we create an object human men equals to new human, would it look like men class? Okay. No, not exactly. Not at all. Okay. Okay, there is a question here. If everybody are seeing the chat, do everyone see the comment chat? Anyone can unmute themselves and say, okay, great, okay. All right, so.
I don't think that question got posted to everybody.
I'm sorry?
That question is not posted to everybody.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So the question is, if we create an object human men equals to new human, would it look like a men class? No. Okay. Now, when you talk about a superclass, okay, your superclass human does not have any trace of your subclass, okay, because it is kind of an hierarchy, okay. When you go up, the human class doesn't have any trace of your men, but the other way around is possible here, because your human does not have the access to the okay, when I say run man, okay, so I have got a method run man. Now if I go to human, okay, there is no way I can directly access the way I'm trying to access the okay, if I create a human, okay, if I say end h dot, okay, I do not have any access to the run man here. Why? Because human is at the top hierarchy, Okay. In your as a subclass will be having the access to the superclass methods and behaviors. Okay, sorry, state and behaviors, but your superclass will not have the access to it. Okay. Would this look like main class to execute the override method? Yes, Adil, we will get into those things. Okay, just stay tuned. There are a lot of other things which has to be cleared for other folks also. Okay, so you're just jumping the gun right now. So slowly let us move on. Okay, maybe you're smart enough. You have read a lot of other things, but let's go one by one. All right. Then what's the use of run in the main class human if we are not using it? No, right now okay. Right now there is no use. I just want to have the default functionality, so I'm just invoking the run method here. But as I said, I want to do some extra functionalities on the main class. So for that reason, I'm going to say sys out, and I want to say I am running fast. Okay. Okay, so right click, run as Java application. So it is going to basically say I'm running fast. Okay. Folks, it's already 9 o'clock right now, so let's resume the class tomorrow and drop it here. If anyone has any questions, let's discuss now. Okay. When are you planning to teach the lessons before classes topic which I have missed? Madhu, did you get a chance to go through the videos also?
I received the videos. The problem was that your voice is pretty clear, but the words on the screen are not readable. They are hazy. So I cannot understand what you're doing. And the second thing is, I don't have any experience in the IT field.
Okay.
So, just by listening, I could not learn much.
Okay. All right. I understand that.
H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.